Alright, so here we are, and we're going to build up this model quite a bit as far as the importing of color maps and normal maps and all of that. That's good stuff. So we could reposition now this screw that we chose only to export one of these. I'm just going to duplicate that and put it in weird locations. And I'll probably put it in locations that I don't have to augment it too much. There we go. Perfect. Window rendering hypershade. Got that. It's located here. Go to the texture tab and then import all this stuff in. So just going to find a window here to browse out with. Here's my final project. Just import these in. Click these, double click these. So this will build a real-time thumbnail for all of them. We basically need two materials for this because there's two different maps. And I'm just going to be using Lambert's. Okay. First Lambert's going to be the wood. The other one's going to be bone. Okay. The bone, middle mouse button, click and drag it down to default. And then here's the normal map for that. Middle mouse button, click and drag it for bump. Choose tangent space. Good. Now here's my wood texture. Middle mouse button, click and drag it over to default. And here's my wood normal map. Middle mouse button, click and drag it over to bump map. Choose tangent space normals. Alright. Now, middle mouse button, click and drag this over to bone. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could just do it to all objects? Yeah. Well, now that we have all of this established, we can get off this multiple object kick and join these together. So now, mesh combine. You know you wanted to do that in Mudbox like a long time ago, but you couldn't do it. There we go, all at once. Yeah. Also, you want to go normals and go soften edge. And then we go like this. Here's this. Now I don't like how just ugh, you know what I mean, like it's there, but I think it's because the high quality rendering isn't on. You're like, oh wow, so big difference, right? So there it is. We have our bone study. Ran from a normal map. Normal map super clean. And this is portfolio ready. Or just to hang in a, you know, like one of those things is I always tell students is if you're building something to look at, you know, always have assets for it. Oop. And okay, so this one right here, this area could be represented by something else. And that would make it look a lot better, I think. So all you would do here is have to put some rust right here in this location. So this map right here is right here. Edit, paste. Oop. I swear I copied that. Copy image. Alright. It's gonna be that way because, you know, like I'm at the end of this and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's just get this done. But it's not gonna do that. I call it universal or universe. It's one of those things that your mind puts out like these waves and the universe can detect it or something like that. It's the same phenomena that people experience, that if you're using a computer and you are awesome at computers, it works for you. But if you suck at computers and then a person standing next to you is amazing at computers, everything works until that guy walks away. I see it every day in a classroom. It's funny. Student struggles, I walk up next to it, it works, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, how'd you do that? So let's get this over to the right tab, and I want this into my, not this one. So I'm going to close all of these, or just open my TGA. There we go. Now I know what it's called, and I can right click on it and say duplicate layer, go to my horse color map TGA, and that's a lot better. So you want to keep this to scale. If you do this, you know, those bolts are small. So you want something like that in that area. And these are the finishing problems. You know, this is the stuff that makes your stuff pop. Stupid little stuff like this. And this is the often missed stuff. Okay, just like that. And I think there's a group over here that I have to do that to. And I can lightly see what I'm doing. I'm probably going to have a couple tries to get it to go in that area. Some things that you could do to help yourself out is go like this. So now you can see what's going on. And if you wanted to use this as a map, you just UV snapshot it. Don't put it in your final project. Just put it somewhere you can trash it later. And match the size. So these are 2048s. period TGA. Make sure you're also putting this as TGA. Back to Photoshop. So we go File, Import, or File, Open. Date modify it. So now you have that template. We could just duplicate this layer over to horse color map. And pray the size is the same. It is. I always just invert this and set it to multiply. And then click anywhere else besides that button. So you can zoom in using Alt. And now you have an area that you know where it's at. Another nice feature about doing it this way is if you use the magic wand tool, I can go to this one and click this, select, oh wait, then go to this one and hit delete, 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 delete. See, now it's only in that one area. And nobody's the wiser that you had to go back. Okay, Control E. Missing some rust. History tool. Here's my magic wand, and you can see what happened there, right? So I'm just going to make sure this area is not on that. Just pop that. Just protect it. There we go. Now it won't delete it. Good. Make sure you turn these off. That's another thing I see all the time. Some people leave their UVs on. Save as. We're done, I think. Now this one a little not so smooth because I have a lot of bones in there. So that's one of the main things I think that I look back at this project. So here I'm just going to click this button in Maya, and I'm going to right click on this and say reload image. There we go. We now have rust, and I would have to just assign this material. Bam. And since all these are on the same, anytime I go to put this on any of these bolts, they line up. All ran from the same color map. I like to soften those normals up. It's much better. Okay, how about one last thing? You should always save your stuff so it looks good. So here's Viewport 2.0, and we can mimic in-game what ambient occlusion looks like. So I like to choose this space ambient occlusion. Now you can see what happens. Perfect. So now when I open that up, it looks like this and nothing else. Alright, now save your project. And to put this to bed with the last video, 13 minutes long, since that's a project, all I do is have to go like this to turn it in. Here's final project. I right click on it and I say send to compressed zip folder. And if this is study 1, it's study 1. If you have 4 studies, here's study 1, and then I would put your first name, last name. And if you need to use that final as a good way to search your computer for only finals, there's how you do it. Alright, so that's how you package it. That's how I touched it up. That's how I added a little bit more detail to it. So that's it. You did a complete multi-object study. And yeah, that was a bear, right? But again, it's because I had all these little parts. So I hope you enjoyed, and let's move on to the next unit.